The death of 18-year-old cheerleader Anna Kepner aboard the Carnival Horizon has now been ruled a homicide, transforming a family tragedy into a full criminal investigation. As the FBI digs deeper into what happened inside that cabin, Anna's father, Christopher Kepner, has spoken out for the first time, revealing both heartbreak and a painful suspicion within the family itself. So, what does his reaction tell us? What new details have investigators uncovered? And will justice finally be served? Let's uncover it all in today's episode of Cruise Now. But before we dive into the main topic, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to help me reach my first milestone of 5,000 subscribers, and like if you find the video useful. It really means a lot and gives me the motivation to keep improving both the content and video editing. Thank you so much. The Kepner family boarded the Carnival Horizon for what was supposed to be a joyful vacation. For Anna, this was a break from her busy senior year schedule as a varsity cheerleader preparing for a future in the Navy and eventually service as a K-9 police officer. She had dreams, discipline, and a clear sense of who she wanted to become. But on November 7th, those dreams were abruptly cut short. Anna was discovered dead in the cabin she shared with her 16-year-old stepbrother, wrapped tightly in a blanket and covered with multiple life jackets, an image that investigators later described as deeply concerning. The unnatural positioning of her body raised immediate red flags. Family members found her, and within moments, the carefree atmosphere of the cruise ship was shattered. In the days that followed, speculation swirled online and in the media. But it wasn't until forensic examiners completed their assessment that the most important finding was released. ABC News people and the Associated Press reported that the internal forensic findings identified Anna's cause of death as mechanical asphyxiation, specifically consistent with what experts refer to as a bar hold. This technique involves the application of force across the neck using an arm or forearm. This method leaves distinct physical indicators and is virtually impossible for an individual to self-inflict. The confirmation eliminated several previously floated theories. No drugs or alcohol were found in her system. No evidence of sexual assault was present, and no underlying medical condition could have caused such injuries. In addition, there is an important, though not new clue: the life jacket that was wrapped around the victim. They are meant to save lives, but in this case, the best they can do is point investigators toward the killer. According to a veteran detective following the case, the life jacket found on Anna Kepner's body may be the key. The detective explained that if someone were sweating during the act of killing, they would leave DNA throughout the room on the victim and on anything used to cover the body. For that reason, forensic experts will analyze the DNA with this in mind. They won't just test for a match with the 16-year-old boy, they will likely also work to rule out the 14-year-old sibling as well. Few people could imagine the emotional conflict gripping Christopher Kepner, Anna's father. He traveled on the cruise with both his daughter and his stepchildren. Now he is confronting the possibility that one child he loved may have harmed another. In an interview with People magazine, Christopher spoke through visible pain. "I want him to face the consequences. I will be fighting to make sure that does happen." He did not directly accuse his stepson, but admitted the reality he cannot escape. "I cannot say that he is responsible, but I can't decline." Christopher is not only grieving a daughter, he is also wrestling with the possibility that someone he raised, someone he knew as a normal kid, might be connected to her death. He also emphasized that there is only one way forward. "My best course of action is to let the FBI do what they're doing." Although the FBI has not publicly named any suspects, court documents from an unrelated custody dispute revealed that Anna's stepbrother had been identified as a possible suspect by his own parents. That revelation stunned the public and added significant weight to the growing suspicions surrounding him. Still, the legal reality remains. No arrests have been made. No charges have been filed. The FBI has released almost no additional details. This is truly a case giving the FBI a major headache, as the witness statements contain more inconsistencies than ever. It's no surprise, then, that the investigation is taking so long to resolve. First are the statements from Anna's 16-year-old stepbrother, who has quietly become the central figure of suspicion. However, his accounts to relatives and authorities have reportedly been inconsistent, shifting in tone and detail each time he tells the story. At one point, he is said to have told family members that he does not remember what happened, a claim that raises more questions than answers in a case already defined by ambiguity. The absence of public charges does not lessen the seriousness of the scrutiny. Instead, it suggests the FBI may be waiting on further forensic confirmation, navigating the jurisdictional hurdles that accompany crimes at sea, or simply lacking the final corroborative evidence necessary to proceed. Maritime homicide investigations often evolve, slowly shaped by the complexities of international law and the transient nature of life aboard a cruise ship. As investigators dig deeper, another layer of complexity emerges: the conflicting narratives surrounding Anna's relationship with her stepbrother. Public accounts split into two sharply opposing versions, creating uncertainty about what truly took place behind closed doors. According to Anna's grandparents and portions of the immediate family, the two teenagers were exceptionally close, bonded like true siblings, and described as affectionate, supportive, and inseparable. This version paints a picture of harmony, making the tragedy all the more shocking. Yet, an entirely different portrayal has surfaced through extended family members and private statements. In this alternate narrative, Anna was reportedly uneasy around her stepbrother, even afraid of him at times. Whether these claims stem from buried tensions, overlooked warning signs, or emotional reactions in the aftermath of grief remains unclear. What is certain, however, is that these divergent stories have become a focal point of the investigation, forcing authorities to question whether there were signs of conflict known only to parts of the family, or whether retrospective blame is shaping the accounts now being circulated. With the revelation of mechanical asphyxiation now firmly established, the focus turns to what comes next, and the possibilities ahead form a narrow but consequential set of outcomes. Based on legal experts and the information currently available, the investigation appears to be moving toward one of three potential paths. The first is the filing of a delinquency petition, the juvenile equivalent of a criminal charge. If investigators conclude they have enough evidence to support probable cause, Anna's 16-year-old stepbrother could face proceedings in the juvenile justice system, where penalties and procedures differ significantly from adult courts. The second, and far more serious possibility, is a transfer hearing in which prosecutors would argue that the severity of the alleged act warrants moving the case into the adult criminal system. This is rare, but not unheard of in homicide cases involving minors. The final path is the one grieving families fear most: no charges the result of insufficient evidence. For now, the FBI's continued silence, though frustrating for the public, suggests an investigation that remains active, delicate, and very much underway behind closed doors. Meanwhile, Carnival's official stance has remained cautious and tightly controlled. The cruise line has issued only a brief public statement, confirming that they are fully cooperating with the FBI, offering no further details due to the active federal investigation. This silence is consistent with standard protocol. Cruise companies typically refrain from commenting on specifics until authorities release information. Yet behind the scenes, Carnival's internal systems now play a crucial role. The ship's operational logs, electronic keycard records, cabin access data, and surveillance outside the staterooms have become essential pieces of evidence. Each step recorded, each door opened, each entry scanned, helps investigators reconstruct the timeline of the night Anna died. On a vessel with thousands of passengers where movement is constant And overlapping, these digital footprints could be the key to understanding who approached or entered Anna's cabin before she was killed. As the case grows, so does the emotional fallout. Anna's death has gripped global attention not only because she was young, but because it occurred in a space that families are told is safe, controlled, and highly monitored. The public's reaction has been a mix of heartbreak and disbelief, with parents around the world now questioning vulnerabilities they had never considered. How could a violent death take place on a cruise ship without immediate clarity? Why were minors sharing cabins without additional oversight? If the primary suspect is also a minor, does that mean the eventual outcome charges, testimony, or adjudication will be sealed from public view? And perhaps most unsettling, are cruise ships truly prepared to preserve and protect a crime scene in the chaotic hours following a discovery? These questions highlight a much broader debate about cruise industry safety protocols and the unique challenges of traveling with teenagers or mixed-age family groups. In the wake of Anna's death, the conversation is no longer just about one tragedy. It's about whether the systems in place on board modern cruise ships are equipped to prevent, detect, and respond to violent incidents involving minors. The public is no longer simply waiting for answers. They are demanding reform.